What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Kid Tosh, and today we're going to be talking about Dirk Nowitzki. This video, actually, I guess you could say it's a day late just because, the Dirk milestone occurred the day before yesterday. I had to make the video on Russell Westbrook yesterday after he dropped 58 points, talking about why he's not going to win MVP. If you haven't seen that, please do not forget to check that out. But today we're going to be talking about Dirk, his legacy with the Dallas Mavericks. But most importantly, we're going to be talking about Dirk's impact on the game of basketball as we know it. You guys can kick back and watch some old Dirk highlights. And I'm going to talk about Dirk's impact, what he really brought to this league. And no, he's not retiring, okay? He's going to retire, not this year. After next year, maybe, I don't know. I know he's going to play at least one more season. But Dirk Nowitzki hit 30,000 points a few days ago. 6th player ever to do it. Also, we're going to talk about where Dirk ranks among the greatest of all time, or greatest power forwards, big men of all time. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment an idea down below. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into this. So for the sake of this video, I'm probably going to talk a lot about Dirk in the past tense, and that's just because of the fact that Dirk, as we know it now, he's really being celebrated today for what he's done in the past. Right now, when you see Dirk play, you're always going to think about the legacy Dirk has created for himself. Obviously, Dirk today isn't the same player he used to be. Okay, he's not nearly as effective as he used to be, but Dirk Nowitzki is still remembered. He's going to be known as that guy, that great player for all those years that changed the game of basketball. We're going to talk all about it. Without further ado, we're going to talk about how he changed this game of basketball. I mean, really, before Dirk came in, we've been seeing an increasing amount of three-point shooting. And yes, it's very important to mention that the game of basketball always evolves, okay? The way basketball is today, it's not going to be like that forever, okay? We're not going to have this exact same, this many shooters on a team and you're going to shoot this many three-pointers. Maybe we'll be shooting more three-pointers in 10 years. Maybe we'll be shooting less. Further analytics will always discover more effective ways to play. The up-and-coming developing players are going to keep changing. I mean, you look at high school basketball products. I mean, they're not the same. They're evolving into different players. You look at guys like LaMelo Ball and Zion Williamson. Those are going to be my two examples. If you guys don't know about LaMelo Ball and Zion Williamson, they're two completely different players. LaMelo Ball is a shooter. He's a guy that can pull up. He's got unlimited range, basically. He's 14, I think he's 14 or 15 years old. He goes to Chino Hills, and he's the guy that can shoot the lights out from anywhere. He's got incredible dribbling. He's about 6'1" point guard. Zion Williamson, on the other hand, is a 6'8" dunk machine. His athleticism is absolutely crazy, not just, with his vertical ability. He's also super fast. He can dribble the ball end to end in just a few seconds. He's a freak athlete, and he feasts on high school kids. He's literally an NBA caliber athlete, an NBA caliber body. I mean, he's so strong in high school. So we see that, players up and coming are not one-dimensional, but whatever the greatest players are, they're going to shape how the game is played. You take a look at LeBron James. LeBron James is now demonstrating the need to have a playmaker at a wing position that can make plays for people, and you see how much better LeBron, makes his team, how much better he makes his teammates. I mean, honestly, the guy, as a playmaking small forward, he is the best playmaking small forward ever. He's the best point forward ever, small forward ever. However you want to decipher it, LeBron James' playmaking shapes who he is as a player. Without his playmaking, he's not nearly the same player, and that's the way he's revolutionized the game. Other teams are trying to, get their wing players to be playmakers, to average a ton of assists. They're star players that are wings. They want them to run the offense more, and, we're just seeing how it works. Stephen Curry, you can look at him as an example of a guy that's revolutionized the game because he started shooting a ton of threes, shooting the most threes we've ever seen, and now we're seeing how effective it is for teams to shoot threes. Threes are so much more efficient and effective than we thought they were initially. Now, this is where Dirk comes in. Dirk Nowitzki is a guy that came into the league as a power forward or center. He was big. He was 7'1", and 7'1" guys don't shoot threes. We are not used to seeing that at this time when he comes into the league around 1998. So it's a completely new thing to see the fact that Dirk Nowitzki is a guy that's shooting threes. And he didn't even do it really that much in his rookie year, only 21%. But then his second year, he's up to 38%. Third year, he's up to 39%. Fourth year, up to 40%. And eventually, he would shoot over 40% 4 seasons out of his career. His career best in three-point percentage for a season was 42% in the 2009-10 season. But keep in mind, he was shooting a high volume of threes. I mean, there were seasons earlier in his career, he shot 4.9 and 4.8 in seasons in his career. So the guy was taking a ton of threes. He was making almost 2 a game. Not something you saw from power forwards. He revolutionized the game. You see a ton of stretch bigs these days. Almost every team has a power forward or center on their roster that can shoot threes at a pretty good clip and shoots a high volume of three-pointers, except the Bulls, because the Bulls literally don't know what revolutionized in the NBA game. Anyway, my point is that we're seeing the more effective teams now have a stretch big, a guy that can play the power forward position effectively, but is now a guy that can shoot the ball well. Or we're seeing teams play small ball where you slot in the 3 that can shoot threes at the 4. Or but that's really for more for the purpose of getting a guy that can get up and down the court quicker, defend more positions and whatever. Small ball, or I should say, create mismatches. That's really what small ball is about. But it's also something new, and having more shooters on the floor is not something that we saw. I mean, back in the day, you didn't have power forwards and centers that could launch threes like Dirk Nowitzki, but he changed all that, and he really revolutionizes it for guys. You're seeing more guys now. He really exposed what that was. He exposed 3-point shooting for big men and how well that can work for you. If you got a big man that can shoot threes, then if you have a good slashing point guard, you can clear the lane for him. The man guarding you isn't gonna help as easily. If you were a guy that couldn't shoot the 3 as a power forward, then maybe they would help. And the point guard kick it out to you, or whoever it was, kick it out to you, and you wouldn't be able to shoot a 3. But if you can shoot the 3, then if he helps, it leaves you wide open, or he doesn't help because he's scared to hit the 3, and then you get your guy wide open layup or whatever. It just creates easy baskets, easier basketball, and that's what we're seeing. Now we're gonna talk about Dirk Nowitzki and where he ranks among players all time. This I'm not sure about this. First of all, I want to say that Dirk Nowitzki is not going to be at the very top of the power forward list, and that's just because he was more of a scorer than anything else. Dirk's defensive presence wasn't nearly as absolute as the other great big men of our times. Defensive presence, and not even just that, but any big man ever that's ranked among top 5. Whether it be Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, these guys, a lot of them could really defend at the rim better. Dirk Nowitzki, that's, he's not very good at that. But offensively, the guy was a mastermind. I mean, he could score a ton of points. Obviously, you see now he's top 6 of all time in points. So that shows how good of a scorer he was. And also, a guy that could grab rebounds at a pretty good rate. Not anything legendary. He wasn't as good of a rebounder as your Duncans, Garnetts, Barkley, Malone. But again, he was pretty good in the NBA where he was in his prime. He was a pretty good rebounder. He's not elite rebounder. But the point is that his scoring was what put him over the top. He was an elite scorer. That's what he is. He may well be the greatest scoring power forward ever. But I'm not going to go as far as to say that he's the best power forward ever, or top 3 power forward even, just because I think that there were guys that were more well-rounded. Dirk Nowitzki did get his ring, though. That's something that really helps his case. But I still wouldn't put him over a guy like Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan, to me, was all around. He was a machine. 5 rings. But, that had a lot to do with the franchise. Not discrediting Duncan or anything like that. He was great. But I do believe that, Dirk, he's played with a ton of different players. I mean, they've had completely different teams around him, but he's always been there. That's a lot harder. That's what you have to see guys like Russell Westbrook cope with these days. Or we might see more, that from Russell Westbrook in the future, because I don't think he's going to leave Oklahoma City. But we're probably going to see a ton of different squads around him. That's what we saw with Dirk. The Dallas teams weren't always good, but they'd almost always find a way into the playoffs. And they won. Yes, they won. They beat the Miami Heat in the 2010-11 season. Crazy upset. And I think that, you know, that really headlines everything. If he didn't win a ring, we probably wouldn't think that he's nearly as good as he was. But that's incredible. You beat that big three in Miami with a team like that, a team like they had in that 2011 postseason. That's awesome. That's crazy. As a 3 seed that year too. I mean, it really just highlights who he is. So I would still put Duncan ahead of him. I would probably put Malone ahead of him. Malone's a guy that he would have gotten a ring had it not been for Michael Jordan in the 1990s, and he was so dominant over such a long period of time. So I would give him the edge. Kevin Garnett is a tougher one. And Charles Barkley, you know, those guys, I think I'd give them a slim edge. But then Dirk is right there at 5. I mean, even if he plays another year and he gets his stats up a little bit, maybe he passes Barkley, or who was I talking about? Garnett? No, I don't think so. I think Garnett's ahead of Barkley, but I'd put Dirk at 4 or 5. Let me know where you'd rank Dirk. What Dirk's legacy really means. What do you guys think of him? Where does he rank all time in terms of players? That would be a lot harder. But I'm thinking in the ballpark of top 25, top 20 maybe, something like that. The guy's great. The guy's historically good basketball player. Best, are we saying he's better than Olajuwon? Because then, you know, we could say, well, he's the best international scorer, but I don't know if he's the best international player. So yeah, we'll see about that. What do you guys think about that? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, an idea down below for a new video. Subscribe if you're new. And yeah, that's gonna be all. Peace out, y'all.